Welcome to Homebrew by J.W. Martin Real Estate, where we uncover the true stories of what's brewing in South Carolina's local business scene. I'm Joey Martin, and each week we sit down with the ones who are pushing through the grind. Business owners, creators, and community leaders who have fought through the tough times and come out stronger. No fluff, just real stories, smart insights, and a whole lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's dive in. Welcome to Homebrew, where we learn about the stories behind our thriving local businesses. We'll discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship. I'm Joey Martin. This is episode number 2 of Homebrew. I'm honored to welcome today's guest to Homebrew. He is the owner of Madworld, which is an extremely popular haunted attraction located in Piedmont, South Carolina. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Joseph Thompson. Welcome, Joseph.
Hey, Joey. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. So, Joseph, you have this hugely successful haunted attraction, Madworld, but let's go back a bit in time and talk about the beginning, before the success and before when it was just an idea. Let's go back for a moment and discuss how it all started.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everyone always asks me, what made you get into running a haunted house? Me and my brother, we have just always grown up watching horror movies and going to haunted houses. I was 2 years old when I went to my first one. Parents brought me in. And I guess I've just always been fascinated with the imagery, the scenery of a haunted house. And I always loved Halloween, the fall time, all that stuff. Yeah, I know back in 2005, 2009, 10, me and my brother were going in some of these haunted houses with our wives, and it was very lackluster. And we were like, oh, we could do that better. We could do this better. And it seemed like you were paying a lot of money for a very short experience. And the joke became more of a reality when we were like, you know what, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And so we started looking for land and a building initially, but we found some land right on I-85, which was huge for us because location is everything.
Location.
So that's been a huge factor for us growing. But yeah, we started it in 2011 was our launch date. So this is our 15 years of fear as we're branding it this year. It's been 15 years. And yeah, starting out, we did not have a clue what we were doing. So we had to learn day by day.
I can certainly relate to that. When I first opened my real estate company, it was just flying by the seat of my pants. And at some point along the way, you figure out, hey, maybe I should have some systems and processes in place, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you said 2011 is when you guys got started?
Yep, that was it.
Yep, and it's you and your brother that own this together?
Yep, it's me and him that own it together. So everything that's there is an accumulation of 15 years. We started with nothing. There was nothing there. So everything is just us building it up from the ground up. And yeah, it's come a long ways from, I know our first year we had 20 volunteers, and I think we had about 3,500 people in attendance come through. The first year, it's funny because I put some of my savings into starting it up, and my brother put some of his, and we owned the company 50-50. I remember that first year, we were able to pay ourselves back what we made. And we took the little bit of profit and we put it right back into Madworld. And we did that again the second year and the third year. And honestly, it was about 4 years before we actually started making a dime. And it wasn't much. Wow. And it was one of those very hard times where you're like, is this a hobby that we're spending money on, that we're spending our time and we're not making anything? Or is this going to be a business that starts thriving and becoming something bigger? And I think it's the vision that we had and the resilience to say, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing. And we're going to make this, we see the light at the end of the tunnel and we're going to go for it. And that's just what happened. As of last year, we have over 500 employees. And
wow.
We brought over 45,000 people in attendance through. So
holy
each
cow.
year has just been growing. Yeah.
So it went from 2011 with 20 volunteers and 3,500 attendees to now 500 employees. That's crazy. And how many people came through?
Over 40.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so it all started with, and so were you guys still like working full-time jobs when you first
Yep.
started, or?
Yeah,
Wow.
we were, and also we still own other businesses and things that we do besides Madworld.
Oh, and when was it? Maybe it was before a Mad World. When did you realize that you just weren't meant to work for someone else?
When you work for your dad for a while and the family drama, you realize maybe I don't need to be doing. No, my dad had started a business and back in the '80s, and it was a very successful business. And everything that I know about business is due to my late father.
Hmm.
He was a great businessman, and I have to give credit to him. But yeah, I think it's just growing up around that whole vibe, around that whole culture of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, of seeing my dad work from home every day, get up, clock yourself in at 8 a.m., work till 5, very diligently, very disciplined. And so from a kid, I saw that you can do this. You don't have to work for someone else. You can be your own boss. And as a matter of fact, you can make more money doing it that way. So with that said, I also saw the downfalls of that, the cons of that, the problems. When you're not working for someone else, when you're not clocking in and out, and you're not, if you just make a W-2 and you go, you don't have to worry about nothing. After 5 o'clock, it's done. You hang up the hat.
Right.
You don't have to worry about lawsuits. You don't have to worry about
Yep.
all the other problems, the millions of problems that come with employing people and running a company yourself and doing everything yourself. I saw my dad struggle after 5 o'clock, constantly turning, sleepless nights. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? You're constantly trying to figure things out, and you're dealing with the business outside of business hours. I just grew up with that culture. So it
Yeah.
was just innate in me to start doing something myself. And along working for the company, when I first got married back in 2009, I'm a drummer. Like, I've always loved to play drums and percussion.
Oh,
I've been
nice.
doing it
Very
since a
nice.
kid. So I said, what is something else I can make some more money on the side doing? I said, well, I could give drum lessons. So I started a company that was me teaching drum lessons on the side. And I got so full of drum lessons after work hours that I didn't have any more room, but I had a demand there. So
Right.
I hired other people under me, subcontracted other drum instructors, and we had a whole team of drum instructors. And then we had
Wow.
people asking for piano lessons and guitar lessons. And I was like, we don't do that. And finally I was like, if we can hire drum instructors, we can hire piano and guitar instructors. We had a whole team of that, and it grew and grew to a very big business, Carolina Music Lessons here in the upstate. And then Madworld started, so I was juggling three things: the company I worked for with my dad, Carolina Music Lessons, and Madworld starting up. And as Madworld began to grow, I stopped doing Carolina Music Lessons and just focused on my dad's company and Madworld. And then as Madworld continued to grow, I did less and less of my dad's company. So now it's just Mad World. And I also started up a new company last year called Greenville Exotic Rentals. We rent exotic cars here in the upstate of South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's an exciting business. I would imagine. I've always had a passion for cars, a need for speed, if you will. I'd like to hear more about that as well. Sounds like you've had the entrepreneurial bug since very early on. That something that I've kind of seen as a common thread amongst entrepreneurs is even as a child, it seems like you had the entrepreneurial bug. I'm aging myself a bit, but I remember I would cut grass or do whatever I needed to do in order to go buy the latest cassette tape.
Yeah,
And then I would go dub a cassette tape and sell the dubbed cassettes to my friends for $1 or $2 at school.
oh man,
I didn't know I was bootlegging music back at.
that's awesome.
But yeah, even from a young age, did you have any things like that when you were you had to get started in business pretty young? How old were you when you got started with the entrepreneurial bug?
Yeah, I've done things similar to what you're saying. I didn't bootleg any cassette tapes, but I probably would have if I was smart enough to think of that, because I was burning CDs back then and all that type of thing. But trying to get music off LimeWire and Napster and all that. But no, I've done things as a kid, your lemonade stand, how to bring in some money. Stuff like that was always fun to me. The
Mm-hmm.
exchange of a good for, oh, here's $1, here's 50 cents. You made this, and yard sales. It was I had my grandfather and grandmother would do a yard sale, and I was like, I could get a bunch of toys and things I don't use and go sell it. And it was like, oh, I want to make money. It was
Yeah.
fun to make money. But yeah, the first time I actually launched my first company, the music company, was 2009. So
Okay.
that was the first like actual business that I owned myself. So yeah.
That's really cool. What are some of the yeah, what some you said earlier? It said you were choosing, is this kind of a hobby? It sounds like you realize that this is a commitment. You decided to be fully committed to Madworld, and I think that's a big difference maker when you make that decision of, am I just touching my toe to the water, or am I diving right in and being fully committed? And that's a big decision to commit to something like that. It's somewhat of a gamble, if you will.
Sure.
And what are some of the sacrifices that you've made as a business owner in order to succeed?
Sacrifices have been money. Sacrificing when you're starting up stuff like that, you're pouring money into stuff and you're taking out your own money, more of it, to because you see this vision that you want to make come to fruition.
Right.
So you're sacrificing money, you're sacrificing time, which is time is money, and time is very important to all of us. And so it's a lot of time away from family, a lot of time away from doing the things that you want to do, whether it's watching TV shows or going out to dinner or whatever you like doing, playing golf. They're taking time away from all of those things because you're trying to focus. And honestly, if you're passionate about what you don't even see it that way, you're just your head's dug in the sand into this thing that you're trying to build. So yeah,
It's
those
like
I
you got
would
the
say,
blinders on.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's time, money, the stress is unbelievable. And then you run into a thing like what happened to us our very first year in 2011. We were open our second weekend and we had to throw some teenagers out because they were causing a ruckus. They were high and whatever. They came back in the middle of the night and they had burned down, set fire to our whole one of our buildings. That it was about
Oh
$10,000 worth of
goodness.
damage, and they wrote expletives all over our ticket booth. And we came the next day to find this smoldering building and the expletives, and we knew exactly who it was. It all made sense, and that's one of those
Wow.
emotional times where you're like, why am I doing this? What is this worth?
Yeah.
What we've worked so hard, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, and for this, you want to quit. You feel like a complete failure, and you lose hope in humanity. But you just have to say, you know what? We're going to keep going, and that's what we did. We said, "Don't kill us makes us stronger, and we will be resilient. We will be determined, and we're going to press on harder and bigger than ever before." And that's what me and my brother did. That same year, we had some more vandalism. We also had our storage locker broke into twice. All of our speakers, fog machines stolen. So you feel like just defeat. You feel like
Yeah.
just complete defeat. But again, we just kept triumphing over it. Just press on. We're going to do this, and that's what you got to do. No matter what business you're in, you hard times will come. Bad things will happen as a business owner. The things that you think would never happen, you never saw coming, are going to happen, and you're never going to be prepared for it. But when they come, you just have to know you can do this. You will make it through. It will be okay. Keep pushing on. Better times are ahead.
That's really good, solid advice. I couldn't agree more. You never know. Sometimes you just get blindsided with things sometimes, and you just you develop a thick skin, a resilience to and become a really good problem solver. I would say. I
Yeah,
think the probably the best entrepreneurs are just extremely good problem solvers. And I knew early on in my business when things would happen, you just sometimes you go into a meltdown. But over the course of time, you've seen enough things that you build that resilience to where you got to bounce back. You still feel the pain,
yeah,
but it's the bounce back, I think, that separates the successful entrepreneurs from the unsuccessful, is having the
sure.
ability to bounce back quickly. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that says a lot about you guys and your character. And now I heard you mention your dad earlier as one of your mentors. Are there any other mentors that you've had throughout your career helped you along the way?
Yeah, I've dealing with meetings and taking customers out for luncheons and things like that. You get to meet a lot of people, and there's been people that have come and went, given advice, and but I would say my dad has been the biggest person personally to me that has given me the most advice on that. Other than that, I love books and authors and people that I look up to and as world figures like Elon Musk, Kevin
Okay.
O'Leary. Those are people that I try to read and listen and understand. To they're not speaking directly to me, mentoring me, but they're people that, like many of us, look up to and try to gain some knowledge from.
Yeah, most definitely.
I always like to say you must first serve before you can lead. And with that said, I think you got to look at people and say, hey, if how this person's successful, whether it's somebody local or somebody on the world stage, this person's successful. They must be doing something right. What are they doing? How can I be like that? We all get up in the morning and put our socks on the same way, but this
Absolutely.
person's worth billions of dollars. They're a human being. They have red blood just like any of us. What are you doing that to achieve that? So I want to listen to what someone like that is saying. And I want to try to echo it. I want to try to emulate it. I think a lot of people nowadays, especially with our younger generation, is a know it all. I know
Yeah.
everything and everything is owed to me.
Mhm.
And those people will never succeed if they have that attitude. So, anyway, I just wanted
Absolutely.
to throw that
No,
two cents in.
no, that's very true. I tell you, looking back over my career, I was extremely fortunate that I was surrounded by a lot of gray hair, people with gray hair
Yeah.
that just took me under their wing and selflessly just taught me everything without trying to hold back. Oftentimes in business, people think they have the secret sauce or the secret formula. They don't want to share anything with anybody. And I was surrounded by people who were just the opposite of that. They shared everything they possibly could. And I was so fortunate in that way. And I've tried to pay that forward myself.
Well, you're
So
doing
yeah,
it.
what you're
Here's this podcast.
thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, I love to see other people succeed. And I've within our organization, I love to see some guys within people that start from very humble beginnings, start from nothing, and now be able to just provide an incredible life for their families. Yeah, so absolutely, I love that quote you said. You must first serve in order to lead. I think is what you said. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's a great quote. Yeah, I really like that. Any books or podcasts that you kind of follow? I'm always listening to something, but are
Yeah.
there any ones in particular that you listen to a lot?
Yeah, podcast wise, I love Joe Rogan's podcast. Obviously, that's
Okay,
the biggest podcast out there currently.
it's
I
huge.
love
Yeah.
his podcast. I listened a lot to his stuff. Also, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan
Okay.
Peterson is a great podcast. I really enjoy. So yeah, those are. I listen to a lot of. Other than that, I listen to a lot of, I guess, not religious podcasts, but more of just philosophical stuff.
Hmm.
I always like to try to unpack the world and the universe and how to where do we come from? How did this? Where does God fit into the mix? And I'm always fascinated with things like that. And are there aliens?
At Madworld, maybe there may be some aliens
Yeah,
in there, right? Yeah.
a few. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting you say that. I just recently I listened to 38 letters that Rockefeller from Rockefeller to his son, which is really interesting. I
Oh,
found
that's
that
cool.
interesting. Yeah, and I listened to a lot of Hermosi,
Okay,
Alex Hermosi, a lot of
nice.
really good stuff.
I'll have to
So,
check that
but
out.
yeah, and Peterson, I haven't listened to that one yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna definitely check it out for sure. What's next for Mad World? What do you see happening next?
That's a great question. We always try to look 2, 3, 4 years out ahead of us. So basically, obviously, this year with our 15th year anniversary, we have a lot of big plans, a lot of things we haven't let open to the public yet, but we have some new attractions. We have brand new scares, expanded theme park, and it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a good celebration of our 15 years. Every year, Mad World, our whole goal from year one is just to be bigger and better every single year. So if you came last year, you're going to see a different show. You're going to see something different. And that's what we always try to do. And our customers, they agree. We deliver that because the audience only sees a bad movie one time, right? If you don't perform, you don't deliver, they're not going to want to come back. But I think that the ultimate future of Madworld is just continuing that expansion to always change things, add new things that are of new value to people, add new attractions. People have money. They want to spend it when they come there. They're just looking for what's new. What can I spend? A new type of drink to serve, or a new attraction to go into, or this cool thing, mini golf. We've expanded from year one being just a small haunted house walkthrough to now we have 18-hole mini golf and axe throwing, carnival games, and zombie virtual reality, and just a lot of different things to do. It's more than Madworld's ultimate goal is to continue to not just be a haunted house, but to be a whole fall fun family event for any age.
Yeah, that's fantastic because I didn't realize you had all those other attractions involved there. So a
Yeah,
family could go out there and spend a good portion of the day out there and just enjoy a really nice weekend. It sounds,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, that's incredible. That's really nice. Let's hear a little bit more about the exotic car business. What are you
Yeah.
doing there?
As you said, I too have always been a car lover, and I got into my first exotic car back in 2015, and I purchased a Ferrari 360 Spider, red with tan
Wow.
interior, the classic Barbie car type thing.
Oh man.
And it was actually the football MVP Dan Marino's car. He was the original owner, and I was the third
Wow.
owner. Yeah, so it was pretty neat. But yeah, I owned other cars, various cars, Dodge Vipers, Lamborghinis, McLaren, more
Wow.
Ferraris. And I love cars like that. I love driving them. I love looking at them. I love
Hmm.
the feel of those cars when you're shifting through gears, but they're very expensive. So it's an expensive hobby to have. I started thinking, instead of spending money on these vehicles, why don't I start making money on these vehicles? And Greenville's a small city, but it's growing. There's a lot of
Hmm.
tourism here, and there's a lot of money, most importantly, in Greenville. We launched Greenville Exotic Rentals last year, and we launched around in November, and it has been going insane. We stay booked out. Our cars stay booked out. We have people that come in from out of town, business
Hmm.
guys fly in. Maybe they own an exotic where they live. Maybe they don't, and they want to drive one here. We have people celebrating birthday weekends, date nights, just going out and take the life on an anniversary date night and a Lamborghini. Why not? We have weddings. It never ceases to amaze me the different reasons people want to do it. I've had a guy fly in and he rented it for a week and a half, 2 weeks, just straight through. And these are expensive things, expensive rentals,
Absolutely.
but people love it. People want to be in a car like that. Greenville's a beautiful city. They want to cruise around. So things have been going really good with the company so far.
That's awesome. For the listeners, what kind of options do they have as far as exotic cars if they wanted to
Yeah.
rent one from you?
Sure. Yeah. If you go on our website, greenvilleexoticrentals.com, you'll find our cars listed there. We have your Lamborghini Huracan Evo. We have your Lamborghini
Wow.
Urus, your Ferrari 488, and we have your
Wow.
McLaren 720S on there.
That's amazing. Man, that's incredible. It sounds like, man, so much fun. So much fun. So wow, so that's another entrepreneurial business that you're involved in. But wow, man, I've really enjoyed the conversation. I think we could probably sit and chit chat all day about business. But
Yeah. And we should
yeah,
in the
really,
coming weeks.
yeah,
That would
most
be
definitely.
fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. How can the listeners find out more about Mad World and as far as like your social media, websites, things like that? How
Sure.
can the
Yeah.
listeners find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Madworldattractions.com. And obviously, you can go on our Instagram. That's where you get a lot of behind the scenes stuff. We post a lot. Our social media director is amazing. She gets amazing content. We have a great following there. If you go to Haunted Attraction on Instagram, as well as our TikTok following, Facebook, of course. So if you want to learn more about Mad World, I'd say our social media is the best place to start.
Okay.
GreenvilleExoticRentals.com, the website for renting exotic cars. Check that out. We're also on Instagram at GVL Exotic Rentals. So follow us there, and we put out a lot of content there as well. And yeah, that's how people can find my businesses and support, don't support, look from afar, whatever you want to do. But we're here, we're in the upstate, and we're having a great time. One thing I did want to say though, just to add, success. Yeah, a lot of people. I have a lot of conversations with people, as I'm sure you do too, Joey, about what is success. What is it? How do you become successful? And I think it's really important for me to note that I don't believe that success is necessarily money. I don't necessarily believe that success is a figure in the bank account. I believe that success is happiness. So
Hmm.
wherever you are, if you're happy, then you're successful. And you can see this because you have billionaires that blow their brains out. They're not happy. So it doesn't matter
Right.
how many houses or cars or women or men, anything. You got billions of dollars sitting in bank account investments, and you're still unhappy. On the other side of that, you have a man taking out the trash every day and making 30, 40,000 a year to a family or a home that he's happy in, and he's happier than that billionaire. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
success, true success. So it's not that figure in your bank account. It's I firmly believe, because it's proven time and time again, that being successful is happy with where you are at in your life. Are you happy with the relationships around you? Are you happy with where you're living? Are you happy with your job, the job that you're employed at, or the job that you started? Is that where that's where money don't matter. It's where are you happy? So
Yeah.
I think that's really important to note.
That's very true. I recently heard a country song that kind of struck a chord with me. I think the name of it was "Bigger Houses Don't Make Happy Homes,"
Yeah.
and that's so true, because you're absolutely right, man. I'm really glad you said that, because people define success, they usually associate it with money and having the fancy things and all the things. That's what
Yeah,
people associate success with. But you can have all the things in the world and just be miserable.
that's right. Yeah.
And so I understand completely what you're saying. And I think for me, that kind of goes back to when I first start training my real estate agents. I ask them, what is their why? And I know that sounds cliche these days, and the why changes. When I was just getting started at 21 years old, my why was women and money. And that's how mature I was at the time. But over the course of time, it's evolved to have more meaning. And so I think success and your why, and thank goodness it's evolved. I've had to just over the course of time, just it was at one point in time, it was the acquiring things, the
Mhm.
fancy, nice things, and that's only it doesn't lead to fulfillment.
It doesn't.
And
Yeah. We're all
and
looking
then
for that, right? We're all looking to fill that, whatever. We all have voids. We all have issues. We're looking to fill those, right? And things are the thing. That's what people like to do the most, is go out there and fill it with things. A lot of times that puts us in debt, and then we're miserable and we're unhappy. So it's a dog
right,
chasing its tail mentality.
yeah. Most definitely. That's absolutely right. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because and with my company, the why has changed now to helping others succeed as well. And so I think it's definitely a maturing thing. But man, that's really powerful that you brought that up. Yeah, appreciate that. But it sounds like everyone here needs to go check out Madworld. And I'm going to be honest, I have not been to Madworld yet. So I'm going to
Cool.
Madworld this year. And
Well,
that's another point. When are you guys open?
so yeah, we open this year. September 5th is our opening day, and
Okay.
we run on select dates through November 1st. So you can go on the homepage of our website. We have a calendar there that shows all of the dates and times we're open for the 2025 season.
I'm checking you out this year
I
without
appreciate it.
question.
I've got a ticket waiting for you. I've got a
That's
fast
awesome.
pass waiting for you anytime you want it.
I greatly appreciate it. And I want to see these cars too, because
You got it.
I love those the supercars, man. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. I just sincerely and humbly appreciate you coming on the podcast,
Absolutely.
and wish you nothing but great success. And for the listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Homebrew. That's where local entrepreneurs share their stories, challenges, and victories. Remember, every big business starts with a bold idea and the courage to take the first step. So stay inspired, keep building, and join us next time as we continue to celebrate and support our local business community. Until then, keep hustling and making an impact right here at home. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Joey.
Yeah, thank you. That's it for this episode of Homebrew. If it resonated with you or gave you a fresh perspective, share it with someone else who's working hard to make their mark. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, no matter the challenge, keep pushing forward, because success is brewed one step at a time. We'll see you next time. Same place, new story.